Hello and welcome to Bonus Dad.
Bonus Daughter, a special father-daughter podcast with me, Hannah.
And me, Davey, where we discuss our differences, similarities,
Share a few laughs and stories
within our ever-changing and complex world.
Each week we will discuss a topic
From our own point of view.
and influences throughout the decades.
Or you could choose one by contacting us.
Via email, Instagram, Facebook or TikTok. Hello and welcome to another episode of Bonus Dad, Bonus Daughter podcast. We are here today to discuss DNA,
Indeed.
of which none we share.
We don't share any DNA at all.
Well, that we know of, I suppose.
No. Well, we
In the grand scheme
actually we do.
Do we?
We do.
Do we?
Yes. As a
How
little,
do you...
little fun fact for you, we both have blue eyes.
We do. That's true.
So blue eyes, people with blue eyes all share a common ancestor.
Which ancestor?
We're going back thousands upon thousands of years.
I feel like we need to give him a name. Barry. Bob Barry it is.
Bob Barry.
Bob Barry.
Yeah.
Blue-eyed Bob Barry.
Blue-eyed Bob Barry. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
So yeah, we all share the same common ancestor.
Fun.
Yeah. So it's to have blue eyes. I think brown eyes is the most common. Blue eyes is quite rare. But the rarest, I believe, is hazel. And green. Hazel eyes and green eyes.
See, my eyes are blue, but they're very grey blue. They're not the bluest of eyes. I do not have blue eyes.
Yeah.
Blue.
Mine change colour.
Yeah, you've got one green, one blue actually. So
Yeah.
you're just a weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've David Bowied it a little bit.
Do you know what happened to David Bowie's eyes? He got punched.
One of them was blown, wasn't it?
Yeah, he
Like
got
the
punched
pupil.
in the eye, and one of his pupils blew.
Eek.
Yeah, bless him.
Poor guy.
Bless him.
Does that mean he can't see in the dark or see in the light?
He can't see anything at the moment. He's dead.
Obviously, when he was alive.
Yeah. No, he can see fine. It's just
But
blue.
Don't your eyes dilate, get bigger when it's darker?
Yeah, because to let more light in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
to let more light in.
he probably couldn't
Yeah.
see as well in the light as he could in the dark with that particular eye,
Probably.
right?
Yeah,
Maybe he had
probably.
night vision.
He might have. Yeah.
That's quite cool.
Mm.
Can we just pause?
Go on.
I know you want to dive in because
No.
you're really raring, and I feel like I'm just interrupting.
No, you
I
crack
think
on.
maybe because YouTube is new to our listeners, because we were audio before, we haven't actually explained a lot about our us. To be honest, the reason I'm saying this is because I've just mentioned that we don't actually share any DNA, and people are going to be like, "Oh, I thought he was her dad." That's what I'm just thinking. I'm thinking ahead of the questions.
Yeah.
So, for those who haven't watched our first ever episode, because I think that's the only time we ever actually explained it, and I don't even know if the first ever episode
I don't think
aired.
we've ever actually explained our actual father-daughter relationship.
I actually don't think
Ever.
we have.
No.
DNA feels like the one to do it on,
Yeah,
right?
I think it should. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I guess here is a BD exclusive.
Yeah, there you go. Go on. Go ahead. How are we related, Hannah?
How are we related? We are related via marriage. So Davey is my stepfather. He married my mum. And my mum, before marrying my stepfather, Davey here,
Hello.
was married to someone else, had me.
Yeah.
Hello. And that is how I came to be. And then when I was 6, you entered the chat.
Yes.
And never left,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that puts it as plainly
Yeah.
as...
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much.
I mean, there was some love, bonding,
there
etc.
was. Yeah, there was. Yeah.
That how we came to be. But yes, you are... so we're not related...
By blood.
by blood.
By blood. No.
But we are related in marriage, I guess.
Yeah.
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 Legally we're related.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, we don't share. So yeah, all of my ailments, I can't blame you for.
Although I would say that I used to be covered in your DNA because when you used to go in the shower and then you used to molt and your hair would be everywhere, I would be covered in your hair after coming out of the shower.
I wondered where you were going with that.
Yeah, because you did molt quite
and
heavily.
I still do. It is my party confetti.
Yeah.
You know if Hannah's been.
Yeah,
you know
'cause
if I've
there's
been.
Ginger hair everywhere.
Yeah. I don't know why I molt so
Your
much.
mum does as well, though.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's in our DNA.
That could be why.
Inherited.
It could be why. Yes,
Could be
your mum's
inherited.
hair does get absolutely everywhere.
So yeah.
Yeah.
We are Bonus Dad, Bonus Daughter. And the reason we're called Bonus Dad, Bonus Daughter, sorry, going back to where I actually began originally, I'm his bonus daughter. He married my mum. I'm a bonus.
Yeah.
And
The best bonus as well.
Aw,
There you are.
that's sweet.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Not Archie, no.
Yeah, yeah, Archie as well.
Yeah, Archie's my furry brother. Not a brother that's into furry. He is a dog. Archie. And I am, I guess as it stands, technically I'm an only child.
Yeah, you are an only child.
I'm only child in the sense that, I have step siblings on my dad's side, but I am an only child.
Yeah. I'm theoretically an only child as well.
Yeah, you are theoretically, but you've got some half siblings.
I've got half brothers and half sisters.
I don't know how that works with the whole. What does only child mean? I guess
that is a good question because I don't deem
the actual
any
definition
of my brothers and sisters as being half brothers and sisters.
No, they're just your brothers.
They're my
and
brothers
sisters.
and sisters, and I love them all absolutely dearly.
But you actually do share DNA with them.
I do share a form of DNA,
whereas
with
I
them,
don't.
which was very interesting when we did because my brother Anthony has also done, because I've done a DNA test.
Yes.
And we did trace my ancestry.
How did you do your DNA test? Like via what method? Like, is it blood sample?
No, it was literally just spitting into a tube.
Oh.
So kind of like, spitting into a tube, sent it off to Ancestry DNA, and it came back and it gave me a kind of blueprint across the world of where my ancestors all come from.
Cool.
So I kind of compared it with my brothers just as a... Just as a kind of...
You'd hope it'd say the same or half
No,
of it.
I mean, obviously it came up on the father side exactly the same.
Yeah.
But on the maternal...
It's accurate.
Yeah, on the maternal side, it was slightly different. I think one of the most noticeable differences is that my brother, which I don't, has got African DNA.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's 1% African.
Random.
And there's no African in mine.
Oh, okay, so that's from mum's side.
Yeah, yeah. It was really, really
that's
interesting.
Crazy. I think I want to do one purely because I would never know past father's side. My granddad was adopted.
Yes.
So the buck kind of stops there in terms of knowledge of knowing who the people were.
Yeah.
Physically knowing who they are. And I wouldn't know what the origin of...
It's when I came up with
the origin of me, but I'm assuming Irish myself.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of Irish qualities.
Yeah, I mean, mine's very heavily Irish.
Yeah.
But then
Maybe we do have the same ancestors.
Yeah, I know that anyway. I've always known that my family have been
related. I promise. It won't sound it initially, but bear with me.
Yeah.
I was watching a comedian on Instagram, just coming up on Instagram Reels, and it was about him saying that he was from Cork.
Oh, right,
and an audience member goes, "Woo!" like that, and he goes, "Oh, you're from Cork too." And then he goes, "Oh, like whereabouts did you live?" And it was like a street, like couple away from him, and he was like, "What's your last name?" And then he stops and he's like, "This is the most Irish conversation ever." Said the last name. He was like, "Oh, you must be so and so's niece," or something like that, and knew exactly who she was just because they were both from Cork. Yeah, it was like, very cool.
Very cool. He said this is the most Irish conversation you could possibly have. Yeah. My family come from so obviously you get 4 grandparents, don't you? So 4 grandparents. So we go back. So on my dad's side, so my grandmother is all Irish. On her side, came back from which I discovered through doing the ancestry. I discovered quite a sad story.
Yeah.
Actually, to do with my grandmother and the fact that she was a twin.
Yeah.
And the other twin died during childbirth when they came across from Ireland when she was very young. But also on my maternal grandmother's side, because they're Irish as well, there was also a twin in that family.
Oh, you got twins in your bones.
So I've got twins on both sides of the family.
So if you'd had a biological children,
there is a chance.
Very high chance that you could have had twins.
Twins.
Wait, no.
No, because it's been more the maternal side. Yeah.
Just ignore that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean a lot, but we'll come on to the whole ancestry DNA thing later on because mine was incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
Some of which I knew already, but then when looking at it and seeing it there, and with the family tree and everything, it is, and you get sucked in.
How much was the test?
It wasn't very. I think your mum bought it for me. I think it was
over 100.
Under
200.
It's about 70 quid.
Oh.
I'll have to ask your mum, and she'll have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll have to do it.
Yeah. Cool.
But let's talk a little bit about DNA, what it is, and then how it kind of...
DNA.
Yeah, so what is DNA?
What's it stand for?
What is it? It's essentially the blueprint of life.
Woo!
It is. It carries genetic information from ancestors. It's what you're made up of. I mean, we could get into the whole philosophical debate about nature, nurture, all of that, and what's plumbed into our DNA. But it
tells your cells what to build, doesn't it?
It does.
That's the main.
Yeah. It basically, it's the building blocks of you, is what DNA is. It's what you're made up of.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. DNA testing as well. Not only is it useful for checking your own family tree, your own history, your own ancestry, and the like, but also it has revolutionised crime solving as well.
Yes, because of forensics.
Forensics and DNA testing.
Do you know what DNA stands for? That's what I was just googling.
Dicotyl something like that.
You ready?
Go on.
Deoxyribonucleic. Deoxyribonucleic
There you are.
acid.
Acid. Yeah, it's an acid.
Where's the N come from? Oh, the
Niclotic.
bonucleic. Bonucleic. You would put B, wouldn't you? DBA.
Yeah.
Maybe that's already something.
Yeah.
DBA radio? Dab.
So there are 4 types of DNA tests. There's autosomal DNA, which covers both maternal and paternal sides, and that's best for finding close relatives up to 5 to 7 generations.
Cripes.
Which I assume that's the test that I've done.
Yeah.
That's the test that I've done. You've got the Y DNA is passed down from father to son, and that's useful for tracing surname lines. Mitochondrial DNA, that's passed from mother to all children to be tested, traces deep maternal ancestry. Then you've got the haplogroups, and that's what they are and how they show migration patterns of ancient ancestors.
That's very cool.
Now, so I've got that as well. So I've got, you can see where I'm saying about different parts of the world where my ancestors have all come from. Mine's very Scandinavian. And do you know what? I wasn't surprised by that.
No, you look very Scandinavian.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised.
I don't know how to say that in a politically correct way, but you do.
I am even Hillary. When it came out, she went, "Well, I'm not surprised by that."
Yeah, you look like a Viking.
Blonde hair, blue eyes. In fact, my 10th great grandmother, I don't know if I said this before, her name was Elizabeth Olafsdottir, and it was spelt Dotter as in Ola from Iceland.
Ah, well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. So very so my ancestors are very Viking and Irish.
Yes.
What mine are.
The best mix.
The best mix. So DNA testing also can confirm traditional genealogy research, such as proving or disproving records. Again, like you said, if we were to have a father-daughter test, I would come out 0% your father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We assume.
But at the same time, I am your father.
Yes.
Hannah, I am your father.
Father to us means something different in the in the biological sense, I guess.
It does.
Yeah. It's we colloquially use it.
Yes, indeed. It can help now. When I said about when I did my ancestry, now obviously Irish politics is very difficult. I'm not going to get into it in any way, shape or form. But I can only trace my family tree back in Ireland to a certain point.
Yeah.
Because of what happened in Cork in the early 1900s. Yeah. Because a lot of the records were destroyed. And that's why I can't actually trace further back from that point.
Damn.
Because the records...
People don't think about that when they destroy records, do they?
The records don't exist anymore because of there was a big they burnt a lot of records in Cork in the early 1900s. But the Ancestry DNA has helped determine, although I haven't got the records of the people, where to show that I was from that part of the world.
Yeah.
So it kind of helps break through those paper records. It can help connect people with distant relatives and unknown branches of the family, which I can guarantee, which I can say for definite yes as well, because I have discovered I've got cousins and all sorts up the yin yang.
Yeah, you've got family everywhere.
I've got family absolutely everywhere. I've got family in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well.
Mad.
Yeah, absolutely everywhere. My family's huge. Well, all of our families are huge because there are connecting family trees and the like.
Yeah. I would be kind of interested in mine, considering I also have a stop in my history, but a lot sooner than your stop.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know what mine comes out with as well.
Do you think about doing it?
I have thought about doing it, yeah. Only because you are so interested in it that also
Yeah.
it kind of like, that makes you think about your own. But yeah.
Yeah,
guess if Mum did one, that would really help me out, because then I'd at least have half the story.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
What I found funny about mine, because when you do these sort of we must admit, if you ever do a DNA test, the first things that you're going to be thinking about is, am I related to anyone famous?
Yeah.
That will probably be not the top of the list, but that's going to be one of your interested points, isn't it?
Yeah. Who are you related to? Oh God.
So, the first name that came up when there's 3 people within my family tree who are fairly famous.
Okay.
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 The first one that came up was a lady in North America by the name of Lizzie Borden. So I'm a cousin to Lizzie Borden.
Who's Lizzie Borden?
So Lizzie Borden, okay,
I'll put a picture up.
When I was a child, we used to have there used to be a rhyme that kids used to sing.
Okay. And
the rhyme is, Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her father 40 whacks. When the deed was all undone, she gave her mother 41. Lizzie Borden killed her parents.
So she's actually infamous, not famous.
She's infamous.
No.
She literally killed her parents with an axe. She murdered them, but she got away with it. It was in the 1800s. She got away with it because she did it when she was naked, so there was no blood trace. And before DNA testing, for all of that, and she got away with it. So
how old was she when she did it?
I can't remember.
What would make it? It begs the question of what would have to have been so bad to influence that decision.
So I'm related to an infamous axe murderer.
Yeah,
but also
bodes well for me because I'm your daughter. So and you've only got one parent left, so I guess
exactly.
You've got to follow suit.
It's
okay.
But the next name that I found was Marilyn Monroe.
Now that is pretty cool.
I'm 10th cousin to Marilyn Monroe.
That is
on my
so
ancestry.
cool.
And Winston Churchill.
Yeah.
So
that means Marilyn Monroe and Winston Churchill were related.
Yeah, and also related to Lizzie Borden. So on that same tree.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean that. So
10th cousin to Marilyn Monroe. Did Marilyn Monroe have any children? She like the aunt to the.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think she did she?
She did, no.
Norma Jean, right?
Yeah, Norma Jean. Yeah. So but the first name that came up was Lizzie Borden, and I was like, typical, like an axe murderer.
Maybe I won't put a picture up. I just say, I'll put a picture up. It might not be a good one. It'll be a headshot.
No, there are some pictures of Lizzie Borden.
Okay.
On there, which aren't not of her with the axe. Of just.
First, let me take a selfie.
But the funny thing is, it was like when I was, because obviously when I was growing up, I was into horror. I was into all of that type of thing, and there was a few stories.
Start to make sense, to be honest, isn't it?
and there were a few stories about in the media, not in the media, sorry, like in like ghost stories, like the ghost of Lizzie Borden coming back, and like early not like in Supernatural, but those type of shows from like the 80s, and
she was quite
Lizzie
famous
Borden,
axe murderer. Then I've never heard of her, but
yeah, and when I found out I was related to her, I was like, oh, really?
Checks out.
Yeah.
Oh, I really want to do it now.
Yeah, it is really, really
My
interesting.
birthday's coming up, if you fancy.
Well, actually, no, if it's something that you...
I am really intrigued. Like, I am, genuinely.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do it. I should do it for the content.
Yeah, no, by all means,
Do it for the podcast.
Yeah.
We could do it as a supplementary episode because August is around our BD BD's podcast birthday. I could do it as a...
Yeah, so let me just have a little. So Lizzie
If it's like well over... Oh, I thought you were looking at the price. I was going to say, if it's well over like 200, then
she's
no,
my
but-
8th cousin. So Lizzie A. Borden is my 8th cousin. That is that's a picture of Lizzie Borden.
Oh. I don't know why, but I thought she'd look more unhinged, but she looks very normal.
She looks normal. She was born in 1860 and she died in 1927. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go. And Marilyn Monroe. So
Right. I know what she looks like.
Marilyn Monroe is she was my 10th cousin.
10th cousin.
Yeah, she's my 10th cousin.
I just because time kind of escapes me a little bit. Winston Churchill and Marilyn Monroe not around at the same time, right?
They would have been.
Or would they?
Yeah, they would have been.
Would they have been?
Yeah, they
Wow.
would have been. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
But there are... So, when it comes to DNA testing, obviously it can go wrong, can't it? Because it can discover secrets in families.
Oh, yes, it can go wrong,
It can go
I thought
wrong.
you meant like, it could...
No,
Yeah.
because can you imagine if you were to get a unexpected result? Like, for instance, if you grew up and you thought, and I always thought that you were my biological child,
Yeah.
and then we were to get a DNA test just through jollies,
Yeah.
and then we'd discover we weren't
Thank God
actually
we know.
related. Yeah, we weren't actually related. That could cause ructions in the family, couldn't it?
It could. I also think that is just so Jeremy Kyle. I don't even know if Jeremy Kyle's a thing.
I find those programs disgusting.
Is it on telly anymore?
No, it's yeah.
If you don't know what Jeremy Kyle is, it's very similar in the US.
Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer,
Jerry
right?
Springer, yeah.
Yes, it's very similar. Like, basically, people go on the show to discuss, I guess, a tiff. I don't know how else a domestic issue. I don't even know how to describe it really.
Yeah, no, that's...
And then they'll either have like someone's stolen something from someone's had a baby and doesn't know if it's who's the father situation or what have you, and and proving innocence or proving guilt, like that's what the show is based on.
lie
isn't it,
detector
right?
tests,
There's
DNA
a
result
lie,
tests.
That's it. There's DNA and lie detector, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that lie detector, like people were like absolutely 100%. No, I didn't do this. Yes, I did do this, or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
crazy,
So
weird show.
it is a very, very weird show. A very weird show.
But yeah, it could.
But yeah, I think that type of... But that could cause problems within families. But there's also the concern about privacy as well, isn't there? You think about
Yeah.
how... Because, I mean, my DNA essentially is on file.
Yeah.
My DNA is on file. So theoretically, I've never been tested by the police for DNA.
No.
But my DNA is on
you
file.
could now.
So the police could gain access. Could they, and this is a question, could they gain access to get my DNA from that company to have it on their records?
Well, maybe, but my counter argument to that is don't do anything that
Don't do a-
requires
yeah, don't
them
do a
to
crime.
investigate
Yeah,
your
don't do a
DNA.
crime.
So that's a moot point.
Because you could also argue as well that DNA testing could prove your innocence.
Exactly.
Exactly. So
I can't see anything wrong with that type of data being out there, especially if you're not a criminal. Because what have you got to hide?
Yeah.
Would be my argument there.
But what if somebody falsified DNA?
See, that's
Having the
see,
DNA
that's the problem, isn't it?
having that DNA.
I think there is probably ways that you could prove it was you by doing another DNA test and proving the results, I guess. But I mean, I guess it's possible, isn't it? People can falsify all sorts of things.
Yeah,
But
there are records. Deep fakes, essentially. Deep fake DNA is what I'm talking about.
yeah, I don't really have a problem with that. In terms of privacy, what I thought you were going to say, like with my granddad being adopted, what I guess what that means is the privacy. I mean, my granddad's an old guy, so they're likely to also be dead. Very likely that his mum is no longer here because Nanny isn't here anymore.
Yeah.
But like, I'm assuming that in some, where was I going with this? Like, if you were alive, if the family were alive, and you went and did an ancestry test and then realised who your actual parent was,
Yeah.
but they may have put someone up for adoption for other reasons, like,
Yes.
like they have also the right to not be found. Does that make sense?
That's true. I mean,
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm really
yeah.
struggling to.
No,
put
no,
it into
I know
words.
what you're saying. So there are cases as well whereby somebody may have given birth, but then that child is brought up as the mother's sister or brother.
Yes, exactly.
Because of a number of reasons.
Yeah, and that uncovers some either really ugly truth or yeah.
I mean, I must admit, as I say, doing my DNA and doing my ancestry, there are certain things that I've worked out.
Yeah.
Just through dates.
Yeah.
Just through dates and also through stories and and just through which I won't go into because some of it is incredibly private, but just through dates, but also through certain political things going on in the world, the movement of people at that time. Being very cryptic here.
Yeah.
But I worked something out pretty quickly and was like, oh, that's why.
Oh, yeah.
That's why. And it stared me straight in the face as to why that happened.
Sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That is crazy. It makes me want to do it more.
Yeah, you uncover all sorts.
Oh, I want to know.
Absolutely all sorts.
Yeah.
But there are some success stories as well, because you could say that there have been cases where DNA has reunited families, separated by adoption, war, or migration.
Oh, there you go. Talk that one up.
I mean, back in, can you remember Cilla Black?
I do.
Surprise, surprise. She used to have like a goodwill story, like at the end where you haven't seen your sister or your brother, or this is a long lost brother you never knew you had.
Oh, I know from Blind Date.
All of that. And I mean, they didn't have DNA testing at the time, but you could throw DNA testing into that to solidify the fact that they were long lost brothers or sisters or family.
Mad.
Yeah.
Mad.
Yes. And of course, then you've got the surprising revelations, such as kind of almost what I had to a degree with some of it. It's like, didn't know that.
I see.
And that's come up. That's
well, I do declare.
Well, I do declare.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. And then, of course, we do it, like we've already said, the role of DNA in catching criminals.
Yeah.
Especially like in high-profile murder cases, sometimes that could be the clinching evidence.
Yeah.
In convicting somebody.
Yeah. Any crime, really.
Think about, we're going to do, I did write an episode on Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, were we going to bin that or not?
We keep kind of
maybe you should tell us. Do you want to hear an episode on Jack the Ripper?
And I was going to talk about the actual case itself, but also then the investigation side of it and all the challenges. And I was going to mention DNA, obviously, in that, because if they had DNA testing back then, would we have caught Jack the Ripper?
Probably. I hear there was a lot of DNA.
There was a lot of DNA
scattered about.
There was a lot of DNA scattered about in all of the murders. But I think that's a really interesting question. Really, really interesting question.
Tell us if you want a Jack the Ripper episode.
Yes, please do. Tell us if you want an episode on Jack the Ripper and how they investigated that case. Boom. But yeah, the process is that I went. So you are really interested in having your DNA tested?
Yeah, there's a part of me yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. It'd be cool to know, I guess. It's just, what do you do with it afterwards?
Well, the thing is, I mean, I trace my family tree. So but the thing is, the one that I did it on, it also linked through to other relatives that I already had on there and linked through to their family tree. So a lot of the work had already been done. It just linked through and then built up a bigger database.
Right.
Which is how I discovered that I'm related to Lizzie Borden, Marilyn Monroe, and Winston Churchill.
So the DNA test just tells you where you're from, but doesn't produce a family tree until others.
Oh no, it can do because you'll be connected to that person, so you could be slotted straight into that.
Right. Okay.
Straight into that family tree.
Right.
So because it does, it does tell you where you are from. So I am. My DNA breakdown is English, Northwestern Europe, Irish, a little bit of Scottish in there, and the rest is Norway, Denmark, and Sweden.
Yeah, Scandinavian.
That's my DNA breakdown. So I am very North European.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have not strayed from that time block.
No, very, very North European. That's my DNA.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd make the wild assumption that I'd be very similar, if not the same. But
just looking at, in just your hair alone, I would say...
It's definitely Irish, isn't it?
Well, Irish, Scottish, Celtic.
Yeah.
Very, very Celtic.
Very much so.
Yeah. Blue head and
But no one else has ginger hair, as in...
Gingers are a dying breed,
on
aren't
the
they?
father's side. Just me.
Gingers are supposed to be a dying breed. It is a...
Recessive gene, isn't it?
A recessive gene, yeah. Yeah, which is sad.
Yeah.
Did you know there was that event not that long ago, wasn't there?
What? We love Ginger Days?
Yeah, but essentially, it's like National Ginger Day.
Hug a Ginger Day.
And it's in Ireland.
Is it?
It is based in Ireland.
All of the gingers.
Yeah, but basically...
Don't get us together.
Yeah. Well, there's not one
Soulless
soul
bunch.
between
Yeah.
you.
Soulless bunch.
Yeah.
That'd be the most drab party ever. There ain't no soul here. Which is ironic because, don't you think? Because, Ireland being such a Catholic country that, and then gingers not having souls, it's quite funny that there's from such biblical grounds comes soulless people.
Yeah.
Maybe that says a lot about religion. I'm not sure. Let's not go on a religious rampage, though.
You mentioned religion, not me that time.
I did.
You mentioned religion, not me that time. What I did read the other day, though, which I found interesting, we can talk. And again, I know this is a very, very, very sensitive subject, and we like to keep things light. So I'm going to be, we're not going to go too much into this.
I'm surprised. I don't know where you're going with this.
But one thing that I have noticed about the DNA testing, just in general, is immigration. In the fact that you're not from one place. It's as simple as that. You are from lots of different... I mean, I'm very Northern European.
Sure.
I mean, mine's very small. But like I said earlier on, my brother, there's a percentage of him that's African.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if everybody actually did their DNA and tested their own, they would realise you're not just
We're
English.
all the
you're not just Scottish.
Same, aren't we?
We're all from all over the show. And as I said,
we all bleed and laugh the same way.
We do indeed. And like I said, everyone with blue eyes has one common ancestor.
Yeah.
And that's all across the world.
We're related.
We're related, we are. So, yeah. There you go. An interesting thought.
Do you ever wonder if you and Mum had a baby, what that baby would look like?
Be good looking.
You're both attractive people, to be fair.
What, with this nose?
Mum's nose isn't big, though, so that would just be a lottery.
That would cancel out, would it?
But Mum does have blue eyes, so they would be blue-eyed.
I would imagine they would be blue-eyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can do it on AI, can't you?
Can you do it? I'm interested to know.
Yeah, you can do it on AI.
If you're comfortable with doing that, obviously.
Yeah. You have to see what they would look like.
Do you think they'd be beardy?
Do you know what, actually? But do you know what? Now thinking about that.
What?
Because there's that AI program, isn't there, that you can look at, say, if you've got a baby or you've got a small child, that you can plumb that into AI and it will show what they will look like as they get older. I might do that with you.
Me?
As in, take a photograph or get a photograph of you when you were really young.
Oh, and see if it...
And see what it comes out as, to see if it comes out looking like anything like you now. That would be interesting. Just to see how accurate it would be.
But I also don't want to see what I look like too old, please.
Can you remember when we did those photographs where you can where you change genders?
Yes.
Can you remember those?
I looked identical to my father, didn't I?
You did?
Yeah.
I looked hot.
I think Peach looked the best.
Oh, Peach looked amazing, didn't he? His is
Girl
brilliant.
Peach.
Girl Peach.
I would.
Oh, bless him. That was so funny.
So inappropriate. I would.
Yeah.
Sorry, Peach.
Peach, I'm so sorry.
But I would.
Dear God. Dear God. But yeah, I was moving on swiftly. So yeah, just to kind of finish off a little bit on the whole family tree thing, but I found it incredibly interesting. Really, really interesting. One thing that I did notice is that my last name changed throughout the years.
Yes. Wheels, wasn't it?
Wheels. Because
Wheels.
people can't spell, people couldn't write.
Pip couldn't spell.
People couldn't spell. People they couldn't, when they were writing on the last name on the birth certificate. It probably has something to do with the accent. But they were, my name changed. Last name surname changed. And it changed numerous occasions. It went from Wheels to Wyatt to...
Because I just think it's funny. I don't think anyone actually ever.
No,
just like no one would have called me.
No.
But yeah, can't really.
Yeah. When you before you were married, you could have double-barreled your surname.
Yeah, I'm not going to be. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we be saying our last names on the podcast?
Probably not.
Probably not. Should we bleep that out?
Yeah, probably.
Quack, quack. Oops.
Yeah.
Oopsie.
So I think what we've kind of established in that is that it does get addictive looking at your family tree. Yeah. I sunk hours into it. Just hours and hours and hours of looking at them. But I think we'll get you one for your birthday if you fancy it.
I am intrigued. I mean, if they're really expensive, like don't bother. But yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued, but also not enough to spend money on it. You know.
Yeah. No,
I wish it was a bit more affordable.
I don't think it's that expensive.
Okay.
I really don't. Let's just have a
gander.
Let's have a little look.
Just in case any of our listeners, watchers would like to have a DNA test.
There's different companies as well. So I mean,
I've heard of 23andMe.
Yeah, I mean, my DNA, the world kind of the different areas of the world where I'm from, the percentages constantly change, and that's because of the countries don't change, but the percentages often change, and a lot of that is down to just because it's only can go on the data that it's got. So the more people that do it, the more accurate the data is going to be.
Yeah. I understand.
So yeah,
I think the most the thing for me, I think I would like to know. Oh, that's not too bad.
80 quid.
The thing I think I'd like to know the most is, I don't know if it can do this, so I might just be barking up the wrong tree entirely. But it would be quite good to know if, in terms of inheriting illnesses, health.
It does tell you that.
Because obviously I'm not well.
Yeah.
and I wonder, because I now can't ask my paternal grandmother any issues that she had gynecologically. It's interesting to me to know if, I don't know, if there's ways of knowing if there's hereditary illnesses.
Yeah.
I don't know if it gives you that information or not.
It can do. I mean, there is I think
you're at risk of heart disease. Like it's just like stuff like that would be quite useful to know, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does. It comes up with traits.
Because it's not a blood test, but maybe your DNA could tell you if you were more susceptible to certain things, and then you could avoid it. So, like if you were heart disease, you'd maybe be a bit more lean. Do you know what I mean? I'm generalising, but
there are. I mean, there's a section on here where if I was to pay a little bit more money, it would send me all my there's 75 other traits about which will be within my DNA, which would include medical stuff as well.
Right. Yeah.
It's given me the basic ones, and I find this is it's given me 5 traits that I've got in the DNA.
Yeah.
And tell me if you think this is true.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think this is true of me. So there's how determined I am. Okay.
Okay. Is it a percentage or
not a percentage? It's on a scale.
Oh, okay.
So as you can see, it says that I'm, as far as determination, you can't get more determined than me. I'm the highest level of determination.
Right, okay.
Basically, once I set my mind to something, I'm incredibly determined. What do you think?
I guess yes.
Yeah.
In truth.
Yeah.
I don't really see you in many settings where determination is the key element.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like I don't see you at work. I don't see you. I don't see you achieving a goal. That sounds awful.
I know what you mean.
Like, I don't see you in those settings.
Yeah.
But I would say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that you're not determined.
Yeah. So my heart rate recovery is average. Yeah, it's just recovery. That's
assume
just,
you're okay.
That's just average, but it's not as in fast. No, I don't. My heart. It's just average.
Yeah.
It tells me if I'm a morning or a night person.
You're obviously a night person.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the way over the night
If that didn't
person.
say night person, it's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Physical strength, I'm physically strong, naturally strong, not stronger than average.
But stronger than average, but not the strongest.
Not the strongest, but
Okay.
I'm 3/4 up there.
And this is physical strength.
Physical strength.
Right, okay.
Physical strength.
Yeah.
And taking naps, I am less likely to take naps. I'm not a nap taker.
If mine doesn't say the most,
Yeah.
it's lying. If I do my test and it says, "Oh no, you're not a napper," I'll be like, "Well, I am."
Yeah. But yeah, there's other things that it can check. You know, if there's it's
Wow.
wow. Owen Wilson. So yeah,
Very cool.
there you have it.
And where can people do this? Have we got a little list? Yes, we do. Ancestry DNA,
Yeah.
23andMe, MyHeritage, Family Tree DNA, and Living DNA. I'm sure if you plug one of them into your smart Google phone, jabba, 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 you'll find it. And if you want to do something like this. Likewise, if you enjoyed this episode, we have plenty more in the bank for you to watch and listen. More to listen than watch, but yeah. Why do I always fumble? I always fumble the catch.
Always.
I'm at the end. Yeah. I literally top and tail this every single session, and I can never come up with something cool to say. So, cue the outro.
Hello and welcome to Bonus Dad.
Bonus Daughter, a special father-daughter podcast with me, Hannah.
And me, Davey, where we discuss our differences, similarities,
Share a few laughs and stories.
within our ever-changing and complex world.
Each week we will discuss a topic
From our own point of view,
and influences throughout the decades.
or you could choose one by contacting us.
Via email, Instagram, Facebook or TikTok. Links in bio.